They say there is one night each year when the world grows quiet. A night when the wind whispers through dying leaves and shadows remember their names. On this night, the line between the living and the dead blurs, and those who wander too far from the light might feel a cold hand brush their shoulder. We call it Halloween. But long before carved pumpkins and candy balls, before costumes and flickering porch lights, there was another name whispered in the darkness. Samhain. Over 2,000 years ago, in the misty hills of ancient Ireland and Scotland, the Celtic people marked the end of the harvest with a great fire festival. Samhain, pronounced Samhain, was not merely a celebration. It was a passage, the turning of the year from light to dark, from summer's life to winter's sleep. The Celts believed that on this night, the veil between worlds was at its thinnest. The spirits of the dead could return, not out of malice, but because the door was open. Families would leave food and drink at their thresholds to welcome ancestors home. But not every spirit was kind. Some wandered in search of warmth, others in search of vengeance. To protect themselves, villagers lit great bonfires, sacred flames meant to cleanse and ward off mischief. They dressed in animal skins and wore grotesque masks to confuse the spirits that roamed the land. And so, the first costumes of Halloween were born. Not for fun, but for survival. To the Celts, Samhain marked more than a death of the harvest. It was the death of the year itself. The sun god Lu was said to fall in battle, swallowed by the growing darkness. As the fire crackled and embers rose into the black sky, the people prayed for his return, for light to come again. Around these fires, druids and seers read omens in the smoke and bones, telling fortunes of the year to come. It was a night of prophecy, magic, and reverence, when the unseen ruled the earth. But centuries would pass, and with them came conquest, conversion, and change. When Christianity spread through the Celtic lands, the church saw these pagan fires still burning each autumn. They could not easily erase them, so instead they transformed them. In the 7th century, Pope Boniface IV established All Saints' Day, a day to honor the saints and martyrs of the faith. Later, it would move to November the 1st, aligning perfectly with the old festival of Samhain. The night before became known as All Hallows' Eve, the Eve of All Saints. Over time, the words blurred together and Halloween was born. Yet, even as crosses replaced bonfires, the old beliefs lingered. People still feared wandering spirits, still lit candles for the dead, still wore disguises to ward off evil. The church had renamed the night, but it could not tame it. As Europe slipped into the Middle Ages, Halloween took on darker shapes. Whispers of witches, demons, and restless souls spread through the villages. Old Celtic superstitions mingled with Christian fears, and suddenly the unseen world seemed more sinister than sacred. By the 1500s, the bonfires burned not for protection, but for purge. Effigies of witches were thrown into the flames. Those who still practiced the old ways, herbalists, healers, midwives, were accused of serving darker powers. Halloween had become a night of suspicion. But beneath the fear, the old traditions survived. Masks, firelight, and the sense that something otherworldly stirred when the veil grew thin. The story of the jack-o'-lantern began far from the pumpkin patch, in the muddy roads of Ireland. Folklore tells of a man called Stingy Jack, a trickster who cheated the devil himself. Jack invited the devil for a drink and, true to his name, didn't want to pay. He convinced the devil to turn into a coin, then trapped him inside his pocket next to a cross. Jack released him only after the devil promised never to claim his soul. When Jack died, heaven refused him entry. Hell kept its promise. So Jack wandered the darkness with only a burning coal from hell to light his way, a lonely flame inside a hollowed-out turnip. They say his ghost still roams the earth each Halloween night, his eerie light flickering in the fields. When Irish immigrants came to America, they found turnips scarce, but pumpkins plentiful. And so, the jack-o'-lantern took root in the New World, glowing not just as decoration, but as warning. By the 19th century, Halloween had crossed the Atlantic. In America, it became a strange fusion, part Irish, part Scottish, part colonial folklore. Communities revived old customs of disguise and mischief. Children went souling, visiting homes and offering prayers for the dead in exchange for cakes. In time, this became known as trick-or-treating. The trick harkened back to the chaos of Samhain, when spirits caused trouble if not appeased. The treat was the offering that kept them at bay. By the early 1900s, Halloween was shifting again, from a night of fear and superstition to one of festivity. Communities held parades, masquerades, and autumn carnivals. And yet, beneath the laughter and the games, the old pulse of Samhain still beats quietly, waiting. Today, Halloween is a global celebration of imagination where horror meets humor and monsters become masks. We decorate with ghosts and skeletons, yet few remember the roots that gave them life. We light candles inside of pumpkins, not knowing that once they were charms against the wandering dead. Even our fascination with horror, haunted houses, midnight stories, and graveyard walks is a faint echo of the ancient need to confront the darkness, to face the unknown and to survive it. Because, deep down, Halloween is not just about death. It's about renewal, the eternal cycle of life, fading and returning again. The Celts understood that to honor the dead was to give thanks for life itself. Every flicker of a candle, every chill in the October air was a whisper from those long gone, reminding us that the past is never truly buried. And so, when you step outside this Halloween and feel the wind stir the fallen leaves, remember that you are walking through a night older than memory itself. A night when the fires of Samhain still burn, hidden in every glowing lantern, every rustle in the dark. A night when masks conceal, yet also reveal. And somewhere beyond the veil, the old spirits smile, for their night has come again. Happy Halloween!